I think my team's individual skill level is probably the highest from all the teams. I think if the meta was in our favor, we would completely dominate every team and would probably win every tournament.
Wildcard Gaming, it's a great team.
Yeah, Wildcard's gaming success from the last LAN, and I guess plus 2 LANs, kind of shows how mechanically gifted that team really is.
Those 4 players are like really insane. Like, they're definitely one of the best European teams, maybe even better than Method Black individually.
They don't necessarily have the best meta comps, but it just goes to show you how good they actually are individually and as a team. Facing a warrior of Blizzo's level, it's definitely a lot more difficult to deal with.
When I face most warriors, they're either the new warriors, old warriors, or they're just not as good as he is.
Blizzo is just a really good player because he uses his toolkit like really efficiently.
Knowing who to hit, when, why, good defensive usage, knowing when to go battle stance, knowing when to stay in defensive stance.
Do you think you're the best warrior in the world?
Yeah, I think I'm the best warrior in the world.
Well, you heard it from Spears and you heard it from him. Thinks he's the best warrior in the world, and I don't really think any of us are going to disagree. Every time you watch him play, he's able to stop pretty much every go. He's able to create so many scenarios for success, and that's when warriors aren't even good. That's kind of the story of Wildcard Gaming. Like you guys all just heard, they're a team that even when the meta is not in their favor, they can rely on their high skill level, but it seems like it's been coming together, Zico. I remember, maybe 2 years ago now, the first thing that you said when we actually got down to the desk in seasonal play, the team was a little bit different back then, and they were called XRB to the moon, but you're like, this should be the best team throughout the entire year. They had their peaks, they had their valleys, they weren't able to quite get it together, but now it seems like all the pieces are falling into place.
Absolutely, and you know, that's the thing. These guys, they seem to not really get shaken by the nerves on LAN. You know, they got a BlizzCon winner on that roster in Looney, and they're just all enabled. They're here to play. They had a phenomenal performance in the summer final, and I'm not surprised to see that they're in the top 3 right now.
It's really interesting how this team came together as well, right? I think Blizzo, you just expect a lot of things out of, especially with a lot of the teams he's been a part of, dynasties even. But when you do look on the side of Maro, I feel like I actually think Maro is the best mage in the world.
Yeah, I think Maro showed that in his series against Cloud9. The thing was with this guy, like, everyone's been saying it, these guys aren't playing the meta compositions. They're playing warriors, they're playing Mistweaver monks that we just don't see from anyone else in these top level competitions. They're playing so incredibly well to actually pull off the compositions they have. And I mean, moreover, they're playing against Method Black now that they've been struggling the whole year. Method Black has absolutely not been able to beat Cloud9. So the fact that Wildcard Gaming always brings it to such a close series just shows that their individual talent is, it's incredible.
I think that, you do look at this tournament and there isn't too much of a question who the top 3 teams are. You're going to be looking at Method Black, you're going to be looking over on the side of Cloud9, but Wildcard Gaming, before we got to the LANs, I don't think we were putting as much stock into them at all, but their stock's just rapidly rising here throughout the tournament.
Yeah, Wildcard Gaming has been a team that I think a lot of people had honestly really high expectations of, but like everyone's been saying, just the meta just does not favor what they choose to play, but they're able to make it work time and time again versus the best teams in the world. And honestly, I really want to see a strong performance from Wildcard Gaming here. I think this is a huge series that is going to set the pace for the rest of the tournament for one of them and they could potentially be a future BlizzCon winner if this goes well.
I think that's an important thing to keep in mind when we do look at the stakes of this matchup, but I just keep going back to history too, even when this team was a little bit different, when you talk about Walrix being on the roster even. As we progress through the year, they seem to be a very momentum-based team. They start to figure it out, even though the meta wasn't favoring them there either. They start to figure out ways to break the meta.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They seem to be this team that when they are on their lows, it's a good time to be on your lows. They kind of just power up through the season, and then as soon as we're hitting that LAN season, that's when they're power spiking. It kind of reminds me of you guys, Peekaboo. Last year, you had a slow spring, and then all of a sudden, towards the end of the year, you guys started getting your momentum going.
And got all the way to that grand final, right? I do want to say, though, the low of Wildcard Gaming as well, it is pretty high. The floor is high for this team. Like, they've never really broken too much of a sweat to even qualify to make it here to the BlizzCon stage, but we're going to throw it down to that stage right now and hear if I's got any information about this matchup.
Hey, you guys, before this matchup backstage, I did see Method Black, as they always do. They went outside, they had a powwow, they were talking their strategy, and this is something that we see them do every single game. This is a team, Method Black, that takes it extremely seriously. I also spoke with Maro of Wildcard Gaming after his win against Cloud9 yesterday, and he says that was the hardest game he's ever played in his life, but now he has to face Method Black, and he told me he thinks that they're gonna get smacked. However, this is a team that we see kind of underestimate themselves, so I wouldn't count them out just yet, so it's definitely gonna be exciting to see how this plays out, Rich.
That is the exact answer that you would expect from him as well. Every single time he says something like that and then ends up pulling down the victory, but we haven't really done much justice to the side of Method Black. We haven't talked about them too much. A lot of you at home already familiar with this team. I think one of the things we really do need to hit on the head is it just has been disappointing LAN performances thus far from them. They've looked, I don't think we've ever seen somebody look more dominant in seasonal play, but the LANs have been shaky.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We've been saying it time and time again. Method Black, they are the team to win this cup. They are the team to win this tournament. They have the roster, they have the compositions, and they just got to deliver. But just these last two international LANs, man, Cloud9, they kind of just sneak in Channel in there and destruction happens on that stage. So they have been kind of their kryptonite, and now Cloud9 being in the lower bracket, of course, is big for Method Black, but Cloud9, I think they can really tear down that lower bracket as well and come back, and we could see a repeat of the summer finals with those guys.
I mean, when you look at Method Black as well, I feel like preparation is also a thing we always give them. They're just wargaming non-stop. They are able to run so many different compositions off the back of that. What do you think has been going on with them in LAN? Like, you've been competing this year, Pika. What do you think is the actual problem?
I think, honestly, what it just comes down to is tournaments are just different. What really matters is how you play in that series. Like, everyone always says Method Black is going to be the team to win, the team to be unstoppable. And in reality, they should be. And because they beat every single team in practice, and they practice more than every other team. But it just seems like they're just having trouble. Like, maybe they get shaken up after a bad loss, or maybe something doesn't go according to plan. And they kind of seem like they can't really bring it back together on the stage. And I think that's kind of their biggest downfall right now.
I wonder if it is a roadblock, too, when you're going up against a team like Cloud9. Like, is Cloud9 now in their head as the boogeyman? Do you think that that's something that can cause a breakdown on the main stage?
I mean, quite possibly. I think Cloud9 is the team that is beating Method Black, right? Like, Method Black has been consistent against Wildcard Gaming. They've been consistent against practically every other team. But Cloud9, I mean, Wildcard Gaming have basically done them the biggest favor, I would say, because Method Black are the favorite in the series. Now Cloud9, we were talking about it a bit before, they have to go through the European gauntlet. They have to beat Poike, they have to beat the loser of this, and then they have to win the grand final.
All right, well, it sounds like everybody's ready to get this one started. This is going to be so telling as to what the rest of BlizzCon is going to look like, folks. We got Wildcard Gaming up on the main stage going up against Method Black. We now see the compositions that will be played in our blind pick on the Grand Arena. It's time to get these gates open.
Man, really looking forward to see this one. It's been a while since we've seen a matchup like this. Wildcard choosing to lead with the Windwalker, Death Knight, Resto Druid composition here. A very safe pick, while Method Black going with their bread and butter Mage Rogue Druid here. I think what I'm going to be looking to see here is we will see Method Black tunneling into Blizzo to try to slow down the damage as long as possible until dampening ramps up high enough where they can warrant training at Z-Pi and landing a kill.
Yeah, this is really interesting blind pick here from Wildcard Gaming. Method Black completely standard. They've been winning this matchup as the Rogue Mage Druid the whole year. That was always going to be their blind lock here. So Wildcard Gaming knew that, and they've opted for the Windwalker Death Knight over the Warrior Mage. To see how it plays out for them. Opener here over onto Looney. Doesn't really force too much though. He's just able to trade out his bark skin. Still playing that trinket. Will be fine for now.
Yeah, very, very good job by Looney. They're not overreacting to the damage. They're not using too many defensive influence. So Blizzo under a lot of damage right now. 20% HP on him. Trying to turn it around on the right here. Nice kick onto Chaz. Full blind onto Looney. Chooses to trinket that. Great job by him here. Trading out that Iron Bark right now. Safely assessing the situation.
Yeah, so Method Black, they've set up the situation they were looking for. Looney has no trinket, but instead they are still going to go after Blizzo. Look like the Barkskin trinket being down might be the kill target here, but in the early stages, Blizzo as a target is ideal because obviously if you can force him to run away, he's not dealing damage to your mage, which is fantastic for you in terms of defense. They still have a lot of pressure here though. The Touch of Karma is being held onto for quite a while. Blizzo makes sure he trades that out over onto Waz. Waz will not be able to break that Touch of Karma, so Blizzo should be fine.
Yeah, Method Black really choosing to get aggressive early here. I guess they really want to try to get as much done as possible before that dampening starts to ramp up here. Definitely trying to put Wildcard on the back foot here, but Looney caught into that full kidney shot here. Nice bear form by him, avoiding tons of damage to that. Sheeps coming out onto Z-Pi from Raikou. Good job trying to field his opener here. Double sweep, lots of damage coming in from Wildcard now. Turning around the pressure on the Raikou. So much damage coming in.
Yeah, he was really, really low there. Can't believe he didn't use the ice block, the vortex. He's able to blink away. Very close call. Obviously, Zeepie is actually running on that Frost Death Knight as well, so he's increasing the cooldown of those blinks, of the ice blocks, basically of all of the cooldowns on Raikou, making him definitely slowed a little bit, which is nice when you're playing against someone of this caliber. Now they're going for triple crowd control once again, though. We see the rake stun from Chaz, Cyclone. There's currently no touch of karma on Blizzo, but he's still looking like he's going to be fine behind the pillar with Looney able to regroup. Raikou hasn't been top for quite a while, and Chaz is spending a fair bit of mana.
Yeah, Chaz actually chose to go for the aggressive Pounce Clone combination on a Looney there, but they were instantly just Raikou was put into 10% HP, almost forced into that ice block there. So it looks like the game is starting to slowly stabilize out here, but Raikou is still under a ton of pressure. When the game becomes very slow like this, it's much scarier for Raikou because he's got to deal with a Frost Death Knight on him, a Windwalker Monk. They're very hard to peel, and there's a constant high damage going out. But full kidney shot onto Looney there, out of form. Great disarm by Blizzo, stopping this go here, trying to sheep deep by trying to keep the damage rolling here. Good bear form. Looney trying to kite away, getting away from all this damage right now.
Yeah, that was the communication Wildcard Gaming are known for as well. Blizzo calls his disarm, so Looney does not use the bark skin. That is crucial because if he doesn't have bark skin, obviously they can blind for the trinket and they can set up a win condition like that. So Method Black don't get what they want. Once again, Wildcard Gaming getting the better of the trade, and this Windwalker Death Knight is looking good right now. But the thing is, with the Rogue Mage, they want to play for the late game. If they can just stall this out, if Raikou can stay high on health, Chaz high on mana, then they will win in the deepest depths of dampening. Wildcard Gaming, though, honestly, they've had really good pressure in the early stages.
Yeah, so far, full blind on a Looney, choosing to actually sit this one into a full polymorph from Raikou. Yo, Blizzo's in a lot of trouble right now. Wads all over him right now, looking for that kidney shot. Touch of Karma used very early here. I think that was a great choice there. Could have matched, does pre-karma the kidney shot here, taking minimal damage here. Bash onto the CC chain is still going. Can Chaz get some Cyclones? Blizzo in so much trouble right now. Only Diffuse Magic remaining. Diffuse Magic, Ironbark, the Maldics are flying in. He needs to be careful.
Yeah, Method Black committed late to that swap, and that can catch a lot of people off guard, but Blizzo not going to fall over here. Uses the Diffuse Magic. That was his entire defensive arsenal. He's actually going for a little swap here over onto Chaz, trying to throw a curveball. It looks like Chaz should be able to survive it, though. Barkskin does have Trinket available. Innovate will make all of these heals free as well, so that his mana bar does not get depleted here. Wildcard Gaming still in a good situation, but Looney is starting to feel the pressure a little bit. 4 minutes in, this aggression from Method Black is paying off, and Looney will have a tough time drinking against this team.
I'm worried about Wildcard right now. They seem like they're really getting caught on the back foot here, and they're getting bad offensive goes right now, but Blizzo trading out that Fortifying Brew here. Well done by him. In cap onto Chaz here, trying to stop some CC. Looney, step kick by Waz here. Full Cyclone onto Blizzo low right now. Will there be any CC on Looney to follow this up? We will find out in 1 second.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be able to okay for now. Chaz actually gets Mighty Bash first. Both Druids were chasing for it. Chaz wanted that crowd control, but Looney got the better of the exchange. Blizzo's still low. Look how low Blizzo's dropping. If Looney hadn't been able to get the better bash, or the bash first on Chaz, they would have been in big trouble there. They might have had to trade out a Trinket before blind, and we know that can be devastating against the Rogue Mage composition. Dampening will start in 20 seconds. Both these teams will have to contend with the healing reduction. The first time we've really seen it play out too much in today's games. Blizzo does have the touch of Karma back up, so he should be stable, but look at Looney's blue bar. He's almost tapped before dampening starts.
Very scary here. It's getting so dangerously close now. Looney needs to figure out how to get a drink, but they also have to get pressure going. In cap onto Chaz, trying to get the low team. Touch of Karma used there. Triple leg sweep, lots of damage being turned around right now. Beautiful Vortex on Chaz as he leaps away. Fisting, swapping back to Raikou here. Touch of Death is available. If we see a very big Touch of Death go with crowd control on the Chaz, we could easily see an ice block.
Yeah, Blizzo actually tried to bait Raikou there. I think he had the Transcendence available, and he wanted to get him to use the ice block offensively so he could pop with the Touch of Death. It nearly worked, but Raikou held on to it. We've seen him go for those offensive block plays a couple of times. Didn't choose to do it there, and I think it was the right choice. Now we see Cyclones onto Looney, forcing Blizzo to transcend, port away. Looks like he should be fine. Fist of Fury does mitigate all damage from Waz in this moment, but Raikou is still doing a lot of damage. Looney is really struggling. There's the step kick. They're looking for the kill.
Wow, lots of damage. Blizzo trying to line of sight the damage from Raikou, kiting Waz away as well. Looney, Blizzo, great positioning right now behind the pillar, trying to restabilize. Blizzo looking to get aggressive here. Chaz, great positioning. Bear forms a preemptive go there. Looking to maybe attack Waz, just trying to keep some sort of pressure rolling. The worst situation to be in is when you start getting triple crowd control by Mage Rogue and there's no offensive pressure.
Oddly enough, both the healers are actually struggling on mana. Normally you'd see the Mage Druid healer pushing away for drinks. I'm super surprised to see Chaz tax this much, and that means Wildcard Gaming want to be aggressive. They're going for Chaz. They want to make sure he doesn't get any resets in this moment of time, because they actually have a very good win condition with that mana bar down. You can see Blizzo, he's going for a Touch of Death. He's looking for the kill. Chaz has no mana left.
Oh my goodness. goodness, no mana from Chaz, doing everything he can to run away. Malix might be available for Wildcard. If anyone can connect to him right now, it could be the end of the world for him. Going for the bash on Uli, turning the pressure around, going for the Cyclone. Beautiful grip by Zeepai, denying that CC. Still gets the Cyclone. Blizzo's still so low in trouble here. Trading out the Touch of Karma. Great job by him, making sure to use it on Waz as opposed to Raikou to make sure it stays up the entire time. Waz trading out that evasion. Still so low. Chaz completely tapped on mana. Cooldowns falling out from Waz. Very soon, this could be the end.
Yeah, I mean, Chaz was looking for a drink there. Waz traded everything, but they didn't get the drink. Looney was the one to deny. Now Waz in so much trouble. Blizzo also without defensive cooldowns. This has been a cutthroat game between the European #1 and the European #2. Smoke Bomb comes in, but the preemptive Fist of Fury potentially denies the kidney shot. What a play from Blizzo, keeping himself in the fight.
Blizzo trading out that Fortifying Brew, going for the grip. Nice double disorient into the double leg sweep, trying to keep the damage on Chaz. Chaz realizing he needs to get out of there. Trinkets leaps away. Great job of him waiting for the Vortex. Raikou, temporal shielding his damage, trying to help Chaz out as much as he can. Mana bars are a huge factor right now. Wildcard Gaming with no defensive cooldowns. Full kidney shot from Waz, committing the Vendetta. Lots of damage coming out. No Iron Bark removal from Looney. This could be very bad.
Yeah, more over Chaz is drinking. They need to stop that. Let's see how many mana ticks he was able to get. He will have got at least one there. He does get a slither of mana, but is it going to be enough? Raikou forced into the ice block. Method Black are dwindling on defensive cooldowns, and their health bars are going to feel the pain here as Wildcard Gaming have their defensive backup, and they push for the kill.
Waz caught into a full bash into a disarm right now with no evasion or cloak or feint available, trying to get back onto Raikou. Blizzo realizes Waz might be low. He needs to not panic right now. He needs to not throw the game. He needs to make sure he's attacking the right target, keeping the pressure onto Raikou here. Right now, both healers completely tapped on mana. Wildcard cooldown slowly coming back up. Full kidney from Waz. Nice step kick onto the Cyclone from Ludi there. Full clone onto the Zeepai right now. So much damage onto Blizzo. Does have that Touch of Karma available, waiting for the right moment to use it, holding it most likely for the kill push.
Yeah, this is certainly the most intense game we've had on the BlizzCon main stage so far. Waz dropping very low. That's going to be the Vanish, his final defensive, but Blizzo also in trouble. Does have the Touch of Karma. He wants to use that over onto Waz. He's able to. That's redirecting a lot of damage. Chaz has no mana. The kidney shot is the last line of defense, but I don't think Waz gets out of this. There's a full blind onto the trinket of Zeepai. If Blizzo connects, he lands the kill. Touch of Death comes in. This is going to be it. Both players on Touch of Death is going to kill him. Surely he actually gets out, and Method Black there he does go down. We've got a cross kill.
Oh my goodness, so much is happening right now. Raikou, oh my goodness, trying to peel with the icy veins, doing everything he can. Zeepai, great job landing that kill. They are keeping his team alive and still in this fight right now. Frost Knight versus, or Frost Death Knight versus Frost Mage right now. This is a very hard 2v2 to win for the team of Method Black here. Right now, what both heroes are going to be looking to do is try to get a drink right now. I don't know if we will see a res opportunity, but right now the main goal is get mana.
I actually think Method Black, this is the best they could have hoped for, because bear in mind, Looney is not playing Feral Affinity. He has to play Guardian Affinity in the matchup, and Feral Affinity is one of the main reasons that Druids are so good in 2 versus 2. So this is going to be an incredibly close game. Both these healers will be able to sit down for drinks. We're going to have a long one here. I think we should buckle up a little bit, because the Frost Mage, if he wants to win against the Death Knight, he needs to take us to some deep healing reduction.
Well, Chaz already doing a great job winning the drinking battle versus Looney here, but doing a good job recovering here. And as Healing Stat was pointing out, the Feral Affinity is so important because when Resto Druids are spec'd into that, they're allowed to do much more damage. They have an extra stun, and basically it's like having another DPS in the game, which is a big deal, especially when it comes down to these 2v2s. But I think right now with what's happening, I would really want to make sure Wildcard Gaming is aware of the res potential. It's much harder for a team like Wildcard to get a res off because Raikou has the ability to spam Polymorph, and the team from Wildcard has no ability to do that.
Yeah, so this is going to be really interesting to see if Method Black do actually opt for a play like that. They do have the mana lead right now. Raikou counterspells the Cyclone. Obviously, with one damage dealer dead on both sides, it's going to be a little bit slower whilst we kind of wait for the build-up here. Let's talk about the matchup a little bit more. So Frost Mage and Restoration Druid, they want to play like this very drawn-out game, going for crowd control. I'd love to see a few more Cyclones potentially onto Zeepai, but because Zeepai's running the Frost Death Knight as opposed to Unholy, he loses out on a lot of that self-healing. We already talked about the fact that they've lost out on damage here, so I think Wildcard Gaming is still advantaged in this, but I gotta say, for the first game between these two teams, we knew the series was going to be good. What a start.
I can't believe it. Waz was doing such a great job cutting away, and the Touch of Death didn't actually activate because Blizzo died before it went off, but Zeepai was there to secure the kill at maximum range, so that was ridiculous. But right now, Chaz looking to get some CC offensively onto Looney here. Zeepai under a decent amount of pressure right now. Like we said, the Frost Death Knight's so good for sitting on the mage. If we see Raikou, he is literally never getting away from Zeepai. It is almost impossible, and I think Zico would definitely tell you about that later, how annoying that is to fight. But yeah, so basically just trying to keep the pressure, making sure that Raikou does not get out of reach of his kick or his death grip or his stun potentially.
Yeah, Zico, do you envy Raikou right now?
Oh no, it doesn't look like he's going to be having too much fun. And honestly, I think Chaz should, I think Chaz should just go in and try to get some more bleed effects onto Z-Pi, because the best way to get the DK off of the mage is with that pressure. But it's also hard to stop the drink stand, so Lunia's got a really kind of tough job as well, keeping his distance there.
Yeah, Looney's got to play a really good game here. I mean, this is huge. Basically, because of the compositions that Wildcard are bringing to the table here, they don't want to fall behind in this blind pick. If they lose this game, then Method Black will have counter picks for the Windwalker Death Knight, potentially even a Mage Lock Druid, which they've been practicing a lot. So Wildcard Gaming winning this game is instrumental to their success getting into the grand finals here. And a lot of that does come down to Looney. He's done a good job so far in the game, able to keep Blizzard up for long enough. Now he's looking for drinks, baiting out Frozen Orbs, and the Frozen Orb being used like that against the Frost Death Knight is actually really significant, because that's a huge snare, and it's not going to come off cooldown as fast because Frost Death Knights don't have that pet.
Yeah, Raikou definitely choosing to value the mana over a little bit of extra pressure on his Z-Pi. This 2v2 so far, it might look a little weird if you're watching this for the first time, but there's a lot of little mind games going on the entire time. Looney and Chaz constantly trying to reposition, giving themselves the best option to get as much mana back as possible. And as we see, it basically looks like a 1v1 versus Z-Pi and Raikou, while the Druids are kind of running back and forth trying to just mess with each other. But right now, Z-Pi under a lot of pressure, no AMS available, half HP on Raikou, trying to get some pressure. Raikou with 2 ice blocks back right now. Those are huge defensive cooldowns as we see dampening start to ramp up at 48%.
Yeah, actually we see the Kleptomania there onto Looney's Innovate, so really interesting play there from Raikou. Instead of Kleptomaniaing the Overgrowth, which is all the heal over time effects, he prioritizes once again the mana. Method Black, they know that that's the way they win this game. They dampen, they play for the mana lead. Chaz is able to get that, and I really do feel for Looney here, because when you're talking about those 1v1s, I cannot state enough what an advantage Chaz has in the 1v1 against Looney, because every single time he re-stealths, he can get a stun from his Rake ability, meaning that he's able to constantly land stuns into Cyclones, which makes it so much harder for Looney, who only has access to that Cyclone ability and one Mighty Bash every 50 seconds.
I do agree. I think also just the damage, especially as dampening kicks up, that just the damage from the bleeds from the Feral Affinity Druid, it becomes actually a huge problem later in the game. It makes it harder to heal 2 targets. So right now, offensive clone going on a Z-Pi here, just trying to keep the pressure rolling on him. Chaz finally getting aggressive here, going for the bash on a Z-Pi, choosing to trade out that Icebound Fortitude, landing the kick on the Frostbolt there, preventing lots of damage there. Chaz taking a lot of damage in the middle. This is the situation we're talking about, where multiple targets are starting to take damage. Looney was able to get a few ticks of mana there, which is good, but slightly could have been better if he went a little closer to the other side of the pillar there, but still keeping the pressure right now. Nice bash onto Raikou, double disorient there. Chaz trying to get away, realizes he's in trouble. Good Vortex. Offensive clone from Looney there, choosing to use the mana for it. Well worth it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the Cyclone did have its mana cost reduced just a little bit, so it's not so taxing as it used to be. I think it went from about 3,000 to 1,600, so definitely a worthwhile play there for Looney. He's keeping the pressure up, and you can see this is where the Death Knight really starts to excel. It's around about the 60 to 70% dampening point before Raikou will really push through with his pressure. Now they have a little bit of, you can see Method Black aren't topped off anymore. Chaz still has low mana. Looney's actually sitting down for a drink here. They're trading out the anti-magic zone for this. If Looney gets a big amount of mana here and is able to stabilize, this could be huge. This is a lot of cooldowns invested by Wildcard Gaming here. It's the anti-magic shell, the zone, and the Iron Bark, but Looney has a huge resource off of that play.
Wow, Z-Pi still under a lot of pressure right now. Raikou does use that Icy Veins there, the biggest offensive cooldown there. Chaz, good Iron Bark here, trying to mitigate some of this damage. Looney, tons of mana to work with. I think that was a good trade. A little scary, but very, very good. Chaz right now does get kicked on that Regrowth caster. Raikou still under a lot of pressure right now. Full counterspell onto Looney. Great job by Raikou landing that double disorient, potentially looking for any sort of maybe crowd control. We'll see. Raikou still with 2 ice blocks remaining, but no serious offensive cooldowns are up for a while.
I really didn't think I'd be saying this here on the BlizzCon stage, but it looks like Wildcard Gaming are going to take game 1 here against Method Black. Most likely. It's not over yet, but they are playing such a good game here. You can tell they really know the maximums of their classes. They know what they can get away with. There's a good Cyclone from Chaz, but I mean, it's almost just delaying it right now. Raikou's still struggling to get any uptime, or any distance rather, from the Z-Pi. Z-Pi's dropping low. Looney's struggling as well. It's still a close call, but the health bars are so low on Method Black. If Z-Pi can just stay in the fight, that's a beautiful for counter spell though. Zeepai is in trouble.
Uh-oh, full bash onto Zeepai. Looney does go in for the counter bash onto Raikou as well, trying to stop some damage. Looney gets the cycle and onto Chaz. Both so low. Zeepai with no defensive cooldowns remaining. He needs to land these kicks on these frost bolts. Otherwise, this is a very, very bad situation, forcing that. Actually, was that a snap ice block from Raikou?
I'm not entirely sure, no, but if it was, it could be okay. Thank goodness for that. That would have been disastrous there. That was the innovate as well from Looney, so that was his big mana efficiency cooldown, and he used it whilst Raikou was in the block to either bait him out of the block or to make sure he couldn't get it purged. Now Cyclone's coming in, but look at Chaz. He has no resources left. The nice little vortex on Looney as he pushes in for the kill, but this is looking better and better for Wildcard.
Yeah, Zeepai really making sure to always go for kicks on Frostbolt right now. Kicking Polymorph is not very ideal because all you got to do is stop damage. Chaz choosing the Iron Bark and Barkson on himself, trying to kite away. Needs to get mana back. Instantly, Zeepai realizing he's gone, swaps to Raikou, keeping the pressure on him. Looney chasing Chaz, giving him no chance at all to recover right now.
Yeah, Looney's playing it so well as well. He's using every single Mighty Bash on Raikou to shut down damage because we're at 72% healing reduction. There's no point in crowd controlling the healers anymore. It's all about damage, denying damage. Zeepai uses his anti-magic zone to do just that, reducing damage. He also has the AMS back. He also has the Icebound Fortitude back. He is looking pretty on this Death Knight as he looks to execute. There's no ice blocks on Raikou. It's still a close call here. The teams are giving it their all in game one, but Zeepai looks like he's the one that's going to execute.
Raikou with absolutely nothing left. Maledics are flying in. Good dispel from Chaz here. Is there another Maledict to follow up? This could be the end of the game. Chaz landing his Regos, doing everything he can. Raikou needs to get some polymorphs or something. He needs to kite right now. He's all over him. Zeepai so much damage and he goes down.
Boom. And BlizzCon, I think it's pretty clear when you watch these two teams, you might be looking at one of the teams that might be raising up that trophy today and become a BlizzCon champion. We got a lot to talk about though, Zico, with what actually happened in that first game. I think we maybe expect this one to go all the way to a game 5, but what we didn't expect was a cross kill to come in.
Absolutely insane series to start off the upper bracket here, and I mean, these are the teams that's been going at it the whole year, number 1 and number 2 from Europe, and I mean, you can see it right here, the cross kill. Both teams putting on a clinic here. You can see Blizzo falls first there to the icy veins of Raikou, was running away, and that touch of death doesn't actually do any damage when Blizzo is dead, but still Zeepai manages to snipe him right there and take the kill, and Zeepai once again here. I gotta say, the 2v2 was so well played by Looney, because Looney, every single time he runs away, it forces Chaz to stop drinking and chase him. It forces Chaz to not be able to do damage and do what he wants to do. Instead, Looney is just kind of baiting Chaz around to follow him while Zeepai is just getting deeper and deeper into dampening, doing more damage to that Frost Mage, and eventually, with the pressure of that Frost DK, he's able to take him down.
I know it was a long time ago, but before we got to the cross kill, I think we should talk about what happened a little bit, because we were starting to see quite a few interesting things, and I want to start with just what they picked in the blind pick, because these are two squads with a lot of options. Why do you think they settled on these compositions?
Well, I think for Wildcard Gaming, they wanted this matchup. I think this is the matchup that they wanted to play against. They wanted to avoid the Mage Lock Druid, I would say, from Method Black. Method Black, they did play it a lot in the offline games, and they've been practicing a lot of Mage Lock Druid, seeing, you know, how much success Cloud9 has with that. And Mage Lock Druid is so good into these cleaves. So I would say the Frost DK as well is a nice little curveball there because of, you know, things like the Heart Beat aura, and you're just shutting down a lot of the Frost Mage potential with that pick. So I think this was a nice pick from Wildcard Gaming, and like you said, I think this is going to be a 5-game series, so winning the blind pick is going to be huge for Wildcard.
Yeah, the stake's definitely going to be high for this one, as we've already alluded to. You win this, you get to go straight to the grand final, and you get to wait all day to see who you're going to be playing against. It's definitely the best seats in the house. You want to be taking that spot nice and early here, but there's definitely a little bit of a difference in this matchup than what we've seen with the rest of the teams today. I mean, we see a team that is obviously two squads that have already proven that they are the top of the world. But I think to go a step further with the options that they have, we really might start to see the mental games going on in the draft, Adrian.
Yeah, I think this is really huge here. I'd actually love to see Wildcard Gaming deviate from that Windwalker Death Knight because the Mage Lock Druid is such a threat, and swap over to the Warrior Mage that we've come to love from them. I think Method Black actually got outdrafted here. I agree with you. I think that Wildcard Gaming, because they've had such a strong performance on the Mage Warrior, Method Black will have almost certainly expected that, and that's where they come with this curveball. It's the first time we've ever seen Zeepai playing the Frost Death Knight as well, so really genius stuff from them. And I mean, as you said, Rich, these are two of the best teams, but we're here to decide who is the best of them, and we've been asking that question all year.
It's actually so crazy that we're at this moment. You just start thinking stuff through, and you start thinking about Wildcard Gaming's chance to take this entire tournament after what we just saw. Pika, do you think that that's a likely scenario at this point?
I think Wildcard has to be feeling really good after that game. We saw the celebration there after the kill there. I think the fact that they're leading a series like this, one of the potentially the biggest series of the entire tournament for them, and they're coming out on such a strong note. They're playing a matchup that they've lost so many times before, and to come out on the most important stage in the entire world, like I was saying earlier, when it comes down to what matters in the games, and they showed up. They absolutely dominated that game, going really aggressive, which is kind of the opposite play style that we normally see in that matchup. Even though the match went a little longer in the 2v2, it was basically still just action-packed the entire time.
Now, obviously, keep in mind that nothing's ever one-to-one. Just because a team beat another team, that doesn't mean that there's a squad that just beats them because of their results against that other team, right? I know that's not the cleanest way to say it, but the reason I bring it up is when you actually do look at Wildcard Gaming and what they can potentially do here, there are two huge threats in this tournament in Cloud9 and in Method Black. You already sent Cloud9 down to the lower side of the bracket. They're going to be facing elimination. Now they potentially run in to Method Black if you're able to take them down here. And we have seen Method Black struggle against Cloud9. You've pretty much proven that you can beat everybody in the tournament because you had to do it to get to the grand final. It looks so good for Wildcard Gaming if they can take this series. And this goes back to what you said, Pika. The idea about this series in particular being the one where you start to make those predictions as to what could happen in the grand final. But let's take a look. Tolveron Arena, Zika, we're going to have a little bit more space to wiggle around here.
Yeah, and that's Method Black again, kind of threatening, saying, we're going to play Mage Warlock on Tolveron Arena, what are you gonna do? And Wildcard Gaming, intelligently, they picked the Unholy Death Knight because of Frost Death Knight. He's not gonna have a good time on Tolveron Arena. And on Unholy Death Knight, however, you have a little bit more range damage with the Death Calls, you have your pads, you have a little bit more, damage over time effects. You're gonna be a little bit better off with that pick. So I think Wildcard Gaming, they have good picks so far. I'm really impressed with that.
They look better than they've ever looked throughout the year, which is a big statement. I think we're seeing not only the individual play being there, we know that they have that. We know that their individual skill is incredibly high. We know that they are very good at playing the compositions that they do bring to the table, but we're seeing them figure stuff out, these little micro adaptations that break the meta here, Healing Stat.
This is really interesting. I think you're right, absolutely, and Wildcard has been the team that's been doing that, right, with the Fire Mage Monk specifically, and also with the Frost Death Knight in that last game. But Method Black, I really want to hone in on them here, because Tolveron Arena, they have the counter pick and they're playing against a melee cleave and they don't lock in the Mage Warlock Druid. I think most of us were expecting that to be locked in here, and that says something about their confidence on the Rogue Mage Druid and potentially their lesser confidence on the Mage Warlock, because, I mean, if Cloud9 was in this situation, they would lock in the Mage Warlock here, and I think they'd probably fancy their chances.
It really feels like it's all coming full circle here for Method Black, and I feel like that's happening for a lot of reasons. And Pika, I'm curious how you actually feel about that.